whatever happened.
I didn't wear a hat coming in today, it's cold.
Hey, they were going along, they were cutting that, cat deal on Courtney Lake yesterday for the snowmobile trail. Yeah, ski skiers up through.
Well, I called you to tell you to park over here.
Oh.
Hey, the cutters were right up.
Really
in
full.
this space.
All the street.
Yeah, and the streets too. It was crazy.
I have 8:30, these clocks are behind that one there. So I'll call the meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is to approve the minutes from December 21st. Want to take a look at those, or you've already looked at them?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes from our prior meeting, December 21st, 2023. Any further discussion or corrections? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Public comment.
Yes, yes, I don't have a comment, I just have a question, I didn't see anything on the agenda, has there been any, more information about the building addition from the architects?
No, we're waiting
Okay.
because they said the middle or toward the end of January, we're supposed to have a Zoom meeting.
Okay,
And I think my idea is when we do have that, I think we should hold it right in here so everybody can see it and they can hook the stuff up and everything like that.
that'd be good.
But I would be thinking that, well, today is the 18th, I would be thinking we hopefully will be hearing pretty soon, but nobody's heard anything that I know of. So, yeah, we want to, be interesting to see what they come up with. If they change the plans or have several versions, or, you know, cause one of them was like, maybe we should have the cages in the middle of the room and, you know, have more light around the outside of the room. And everything, so just to see what they came up with, and if they, I don't know if they're gonna come with very accurate costs, or maybe they won't have any costs, but it'll just be interesting to see where they're going with this and everything, and then, you know, back to the drawing board. So, that. Okay, any other public comment? Okay, let's move on. First thing on the agenda is, well, I guess I can say this under public comment too. I told Dawn that, as you know, we went to personnel to try and get, to get a full-time person, a part-time person made into a full-time person, and that was defeated or no action was taken. We're going to go back to them, and, we're going to be bringing it up again. Okay, remember the gift fund, that we're going to be looking at here. The gift fund, it's only for special projects or uses of the animal shelter, and, anything that's approved out of there, we have to approve it. And so, Dawn, why don't you explain, to approve the use for these Karana dog beds?
Alright, I got a little handout.
This looks like a trampoline.
I did look them up online, but,
I made a thing for.
This is to exercise the dogs.
Well, they're just beds, so they're not laying in concrete. The floors in the dog room are not heated, so if you have skinny animals or it can be hard on their bodies. So they lay on this, we can put a blanket on it. Animals that eat blankets don't need a blanket. That top is kind of, it's not soft, but it's not hard. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I don't wanna lay on a pool.
So-
Unheated cement floor.
Well, the beds we have right now, I think we might have one of these. A lot of them were broken, or ripped, so you can't use them if they're like that.
Can't get replacements?
No,
That's good.
that's,
What are the functions?
the beds we have now they're plastic and they're hollow inside, and most of them have been chewed, and they've been there a very long time. I don't know how long, but pretty long. So some of have holes in them, so if the dog goes to the bathroom or something like that, we've had pee inside of those, and it's really hard to clean them. Also, when you have plastic that's been chewed or has holes, it's not,
It's germ
solid.
friendly.
Yeah, it's very germ friendly, and they're very hard to clean. So if you get poop on there, you can spray them and clean them all you want, but you're not gonna get every crack and crevice.
Sure.
So, these beds here are specifically made for, I mean, they're shelter beds, they're specifically made for shelters, and, we need new ones.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are these made here?
I don't know where they're made. Meaning like, oh,
Or if they're made here in the USA?
Maryland,
Why, they can, that could be the distribution point,
I
but.
don't know the answer to that.
It says USA.
It says USA,
So
so.
it's like PVC pipe?
Yep, and they're put together, and they're off the floor a little
Can
bit.
anybody Google that? I don't have my phone. Somebody Google that, I'm just curious.
I thought one is Google.
Well, I don't know if that's an issue or not.
Well, it is for me. I'd just like to know. And if not, if there is a similar bed like this that is made here,
Will it cost more, no?
I would certainly think so, yeah. American made is, rather support America than China. That's my view.
They're manufactured in
Maryland.
They are?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Thank you, I was working on it, but I didn't get there fast.
Manufactured in Maryland.
Thank you, Mary.
Did it say what the bed in itself, the,
It's like vinyl, that's the.
oh, vinyl?
I think, I don't, it's like a, kind of like a vinyl.
Waterproof?
Yes, it's all waterproof. They make them specifically for shelters, cause they're more durable. If you get some of the other ones, if you get cheaper,
Probably has
and
to
the
do
dogs are in there, they tend to, they get wrecked really easy, so it's kind of nice.
Well, this is a good little summary right here of what they are.
Yes, I put everything down there.
Is that a special price you're getting for the shelter?
That is their standard price, as
Oh,
far as
cause
I
I
know.
looked them up online, you know, that you can buy, and they are a lot more than that.
They
even.
could, because we have, this website here, our shelter's on there, so it very well could be a special price.
Yeah, it sounds like a good
So,
price compared
'cause
to
we
what I
get-
saw.
The cat beds that somebody, cause we have cat beds that are just like this, but they're taller,
Oh, yeah.
and they're obviously cheaper, but we had a donor donate like 12 of those to us last year. So
I make a motion, we approve the purchase of the second beds.
Okay, motion made and seconded to buy 8 beds, and does this include shipping or anything, or should we just say for approximately?
Yeah, I would put approximately, cause I'm not 100% sure on the shipping.
Okay,
Most times if
They need a
you,
motion.
well, nowadays everybody's charging shipping and, gas and all kinds of stuff.
well,
so-
and surcharge on the fuel too.
Yeah.
So, let's say need 8 beds, or buy them up to say $800, including freight, that should cover it and everything, okay? And now, you haven't ordered these yet,
Nope.
right? Okay, so then when she gets these, we will have already approved them, and then she can charge us directly to the gift
Yeah, I
fund.
just will need a copy of the motion. I have to
Right,
send
right,
it
with,
the-
to you, yes. Okay, the motion is made and seconded to buy 8, Karanda shelter beds for the dogs. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same, motion carried. So that, we approving the gift funds for that. Second item on here is to approve the use of gift funds. Remember again, that has to be approved here to pay for emergency specialty care for Sybil.
Yeah. There's two there. Only need one.
You're welcome.
Sybil's is only the highlighted portion. It's not paid for yet, cause I don't pay this bill till the end of the month.
So what's going on?
So Sybil was adopted out, and, it's kind of a funny story, well, it's not really funny, not for Sybil. And then I was on my way to the vet clinic, and Dr. Berry had called me, was asking me about, the removal of a head for rabies testing and what the fees were. And I was like, I was driving, I'm like, off the top of my head, I don't know, I said, I'll be there in a minute, cause I was going there to pick a head, I was going there for something. And I get there, and the people that adopted Sybil, I walk in, I kinda looked at him, I looked at the cat, and I'm like, Sybil, and then I looked at the vet, and I'm like, I said, is this the girl you're gonna remove her head? You know, I was kidding. He's like, well, and I looked at the guy, and I said, well, did she, draw blood? He's like, well, no, I said, she's just coming back to the shelter with me. But anyways,
How long had you been, I'm scared, how long had you been in their care or?
quite a few months.
Oh, okay.
So, I got his information, but anyways, I guess Sybil was kinda being crabby and kinda bitey and stuff like that, so, but they didn't, I think the lady wanted to like treat her like a teddy bear. And was constantly, you know what I mean?
Too much.
It was too much,
So to
it's,
speak.
and cats, most cats don't really like that, I mean, there are some cats you can cuddle with that don't care, but not all of them. But anyways, thank you. So she went in there, she's already spayed and stuff, so she was in a little kennel, cause we didn't have a big one for her, so when I put her in the big kennel, like a week later, maybe less than that, I just noticed that she's really stiff. So I don't know if what happened there, so I just took her in and had her, tested for like, cause cats can get, tick-borne diseases. He said possibly, diabetes, so we just did a little blood work on her. Yeah, cause she never did that before she left the shelter, she's perfectly fine, she's only like a 2.5-year-old cat. So, and we didn't do anything else, we just did that, he gave her an injection, it's an osteoarthritis injection, but it's pain and inflammation, he gave her that for us just to kinda see, so that's where she's at. But that is an emergency specialty care.
So they didn't, did the examination
They did,
determine anything?
that she's in pain, but they didn't,
Okay.
they would need x-rays to know more, but I opted to just do the injection and then see how,
See how she fares.
Has
with
that helped any?
she seems better, but she's still,
Better so.
no, there's something not. So, the only next step I would do would be an x-ray, and if that comes back, I'm not gonna do any more on her. She either gets adopted in the way that she is, the only thing that the x-ray would probably reveal is like bone cancer or something like that. Obviously, if that was the case, then,
Yeah.
unless she'd be a specialty adoption, they would have to, these injections, if she does have arthritis, which is weird, cause she's not very old, those injections are like $60 a month or something like that.
So we're talking about roughly $300.
Yeah, $338.30 actually. But I wouldn't be doing the injections a month on her, that would be, she'd have to be adopted, as a special
Owner's
case.
responsibility.
They would have to, yeah, cause we can't, obviously, we're not gonna do that. But, like I said, the only other thing I would do for Sybil is an x-ray, just to either confirm something's wrong with her bones, or, cause you can see arthritis, you can see bone cancer and all that stuff.
What did you say the total amount of this came to?
$338.30.
$338.30?
Dawn, does, the cat have to be in isolation?
No,
At the
she's
shelter?
not, in the adoption work, she's just not up for adoption. So I
Just
figure
to
out,
find out what the problem is.
I just don't wanna adopt someone a cat if she's got bone cancer or something
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
for
If I
sure.
can confirm that it is arthritis, somebody may,
How long do the arthritis shots last for?
it's a month, so I'm waiting to the end of the month. If she gets worse, or, she's improved, but she's not, she's still stiff,
100%.
so unfortunately, with bone cancer or something like that,
But if she didn't have cancer or something, or was arthritis and you had to keep her for a couple months, you'd still be getting shots for her for that.
she'd have to get the shots,
So she
otherwise
adopted, yeah.
she's completely not.
Just wanted to make sure. Well, I understand that, yeah.
She's painful and can't jump and stuff like that, but us doing shots for, $60 a month on a homeless cat, I haven't really got that far yet.
But she was fine when she went out.
She was fine as far as we know, she never acted that way before, I noticed it pretty quickly, because she just was acting abnormal.
Maybe when she bit the owner when they were smothering her. they
I don't know if she, I'm not sure if it happened there,
Yeah.
cause when she came to us, she went into a small cage, there was no way she could have hurt herself. So, and we didn't have her that long before I noticed it.
And this is one of the things, remember, we had approved before special emergency type things for certain animals, and we did that for the one that went to Forest Lake.
We did a few, we had a few that went into
Who
emergency.
is
That's Rudy,
Rudy, and where's he?
was adopted, he's fine,
He's out.
I don't know how he ever survived with all that, when he was a baby.
Yeah, so we had approved that, so this is
How old is this cat?
nothing,
How old is this cat about?
2.5.
Like 2.5.
she said.
Dawn, I have a question, kind of a crazy question, but, this Sybil, she was at the shelter for about 2.5 years. You think she's, when she went to a private home, she's acting out to get back to the shelter? Well, no, because of the population, she, you know what I mean?
Not
Yeah.
like
I
this.
thought, you know, some animals develop a habit, and they like to have, yeah, she probably,
Right.
she could've liked the shelter.
Maybe,
No,
well,
no,
maybe
no,
she
but I-
did, well,
it
maybe
might-
she did prefer, rather than at home, I don't know.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, you know,
That's what I was thinking.
animals are pretty smart when
They
it comes
are.
to-
Great minds.
Sybil is a good little girl.
Okay, so this, you haven't paid for this
Nope.
yet either, so that would be at the end of the month
Yep.
and the end June. So, I guess, okay, the motion's been made and seconded to pay $338.30 out of the gift, well, charge it to the gift fund, for civil. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, the same, motion carried. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is review 2023 year for humane officer and animal shelter.
Alright. So I put this together so that everybody knows, sorry, I don't have any diseases. I'll stick it
You haven't been,
together.
you haven't been hit by Sybil.
You're welcome. So, and then I will have, I got the humane officer,
Could you put her on Facebook, like asking people to donate, if you'd have to keep her for a few months?
yes, I will, I'm gonna kinda wait for the, I think she might have to have an x-ray, I just kinda wanna know what's.
It's recorded, very
Yes, it is.
Ron, you did an excellent job on
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe I work for us, Ted. Okay,
I like the color.
Yeah.
hey, I don't wanna make it boring, Alright, so,
Kind of sprinkle.
right, so let's do animal shelter first, so. Intake is 408 animals total for 2023. That's just what came in, for whatever reason, it doesn't include obviously the ones that are already sold. So, you can look, so we had 199 cats come in, 208 dogs, and 1 pony.
You mean a actual horse?
It was pony, Shetland, is that what they call it? Shetland pony, something like that, yep, straight. So, I went to, the only place it could go was one of my volunteers, luckily. She took a lot of some of our feral cats to their little hobby farm, and she told me, if you ever get them, let me know, and I was like, thank God. And she actually lived in the same place where this pony was. So they had to come pick it up. The shelter does not have a horse trailer.
Yeah.
So they had to come get it and put it there. And then it was there for like 3 or 4 days before they came there. But she was
Where's your emu?
happy, I'm glad with the news. Thank God.
They're moving out of town, luckily.
So, the reasons for entry was, cats, 9 of them were surrenders, 161 were strays, 1 was a rabies quarantine, 1 was an impound, and then 16 were born at the shelter, and then 11 of those were TNR. And TNR means we trapped them, picked them up in the morning either from where we trapped them, or we left them in the hallway overnight, we didn't house them, we didn't feed them, we didn't just less than 24 hours old. And, they were brought to spay neuter, and then they were given back to their owners, or wherever they went.
So they
Or they went to another farm, and they were paid for, not from us.
They were at large.
There are feral cat colonies all over the place
Oh,
in Russ County and the city of Livingston.
Are the city ones getting released back into the city, or are they going into farms too?
Most of them, the shelter took, the one rescue that helped us took a bunch, we took a bunch, got them adopted. There was a couple that went back, but they don't leave that area, and they have a heated garage that they're in. So there's just a handful of them, and then some of them went into the house, so. And then 47 dogs were surrendered, 118 strays, 3 quarantines, 8 impounds, 9 were born at the shelter, and then there was the 23 that were GNR, that went back.
So
then the
like,
one home.
of the 11 and the 23, they all went back.
And none of those were paid for by the shelter. Alright, so animal outcomes is 453 because we had animals that were left over from the year before. So that's why there were still animals at the shelter. So out of the animals that came in, the ones that were left over, 453 of them went somewhere. So there was 163 cats were adopted, 17 were reclaimed, and actually one of those reclaims was that cat quarantine. So technically it wasn't a reclaim, it was just a return. We don't have a button for that on the computer. 26 cats were transferred to other rescue organizations. 2 cats were brought in already dead. 3 little kittens, were deceased overnight in the shelter because of who knows what.
Were they born at the shelter and they died? Or brought in and died?
No, these were ones that were probably brought in that were either really sick or, sometimes they look fine one minute, they're kittens, and the next day you come in and they're
Lethargic, not even.
gone. 3 cats are still in foster care, one of those should be getting adopted this week. And then there was 2 owner requested euthanasias, 12 that were injured or sick, and then 1 euthanasia was aggressive. The dogs, 46 were adopted, 134 were reclaimed, 33 were transferred to other shelters. 2 of them died at the shelter, there's no dogs in foster. There were 7 owner requested euthanasias, and the other one, was aggressive. And then the pony was reclaimed.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you reclaim an animal, is there a fee that I
Yep,
pay?
there's a fee,
Oh,
$25.
Oh, it is.
Depending on how long they were there, it's $5 a day, $25 a reclaim.
Oh, okay, very good.
How much do ponies cost to reclaim?
It's just gonna be $25, I don't know, I just charged her, but anyways, she wasn't. Okay, so our community, dog and cat spay neuter voucher project, we helped 38 people get their animals fixed. It was 16 dogs, 22 cats that were spayed or neutered, and I have, where's my? 7, there were 7 animals from 2022 that were spayed and neutered through voucher program. So I more than quadrupled that, I don't know what that comes to, but. And then, shelter animals that were spayed and neutered were 157. So 157 cats and 50 dogs, so that's 200 and whatever that comes out to.
So there were seven vouchers that were used in 2022.
And I did 38, and I've already got 18 vouchers, for 2024.
That have been given out.
Yep, with appointments, that I've given out, that I already have appointments set.
But then
The
you,
vet clinic is out till September, that's how far they're going.
but you don't pay them until you
I don't pay them
get
till they're
back.
done, yep, nope, nobody gets nothing until they get fixed. Any questions?
How many were this year?
Excuse me?
How many were this past year? Or no, sorry, this year?
This year,
Yeah.
for vouchers,
Yeah.
38. That, or not this year,
No,
but
but that you have out.
already, 2024, 18 I have so far.
Yeah, it's only January.
Well, some of those were given last year, and they couldn't get in until this year,
Oh, okay.
because they're so backed up, so I had to go through.
All the way to September though.
Yes.
Back up.
So I had to go through the 2023s of who didn't show up or who had got pushed to 2024, so I had to redo all those certificates to make sure that they had the correct ones, and then I had to redo my 2024 list and get everything all situated. Alright, humane officer. So there was 126 citations written. 110 of those were failure to renew their dog licenses. 13 of those were for animals at large, and 3 of those were for not having their dogs rabies vaccinated and licensed. I wrote 56 warning letters, 46 of those for rabies vaccination and licensing, 10 of those were for animals at large. There was 21 orders of quarantine.
21.
And what that means is I have a piece of paper that says order of quarantine, that can be either written by me or law enforcement, whoever writes it. If law enforcement writes it, they just forward it to me, and then I'm the one who has to deal with, I have to call the owners, I have to call the veterinary clinics, I have to make sure that if it is vaccinated, they know what to do with the at-home quarantine, and they have to go to the vet, and then I have stuff that has to be sent to me. If they're not rabies vaccinated, they either have to be impounded at our shelter, or if their vet clinic does it, or wherever. So that's takes a very long time to get through all that stuff. There was also 7 bite cases where the animal took off, no owner was located, so I couldn't do anything. I don't know who they are or where they belong.
And those seven animals that are still at large.
They were probably somebody's pet, I don't know, they never, when you
Well, they
call them, if you see the animal again, let me know, if you figure out who the owner is, let me know. Complaints investigation, there was 25 complaints investigations, 1 abatement order was served, 1 compliance order, I assisted, Health and Human Services, and then 1 vicious dog was declared, I assisted Ladysmith Police Department, and then I closed the Hecky case.
When was the vicious dog?
When?
Yeah.
I don't know, sometime last year sometime. June, July, August, somewhere in the middle of it.
Cause people, so they had, thinking back a couple years,
Yes, you had a vicious dog,
they had to have a sign up.
and they, oh my God, what's the word I'm looking for?
You know, we had two
They
people.
denied it, what's the word I'm looking for? Fought against it, I guess, that's why it got brought to the board.
You remember
If
Chase?
the owner does not agree with the vicious animal being declared, they have the right to bring it to the
Right,
board.
we had at least 2 that I can
Yes,
recall.
this person had no issue, she knows her dog has issues.
Well, they have
Also,
a right to appeal.
They have a right to appeal, that's where I was looking for.
Cool.
And they did not wish to appeal.
Here.
Also with the abatement orders, unless they wish to appeal or feel that I'm in the wrong to serve them, it does not come to the board.
And you mean us.
Yes,
Yeah.
so neither of those people, they didn't want to attest it. Any of those. Okay, any questions?
Curious as to why the case is closed, I'm just, how would that come about?
Because well, I don't know if I should use the word close. So they had, a year to comply with whatever, I don't know a lot about it with DA orders or whatever. So then I went out there, checked everything out, checked their milk license, checked the cows, made sure they had hay, the fences, dogs rabies vaccinated. Me and the investigator both went out there, and I also talked to him several times after. There's no dead cows, everybody looks really good, there's food,
So
their
they're in
license,
compliance
they're in
with
compliance with whatever
what's
the
done.
order was, yes, so therefore, it is closed.
Okay.
Unless there are more complaints show up or something's going on, I gave the owners of that property information to, if they have an issue, to call the Department of Agriculture, they have people there that will help anonymously if farmers are unable to feed or unable to care, so I gave them all those numbers, I told them to please call me immediately if they have any issues or they feel like things are going downhill, so hopefully we're good. If he would have been served an abatement order, that would have been a 3-year, but he was not. So I'm not sure exactly, he was just had to comply for a year with whatever those things were, so.
So we get to hear about the cows getting into the Zook field again.
Mm-hmm.
The fences are supposed to have been fixed, so I will.
So there aren't any cat licenses or failed to renew?
We'll be getting to that.
Okay.
I don't do cat licenses, but
Okay, well,
we're
some
getting to
pages.
that.
Alright.
Okay, are there any other questions for Dawn regarding both for 2023, the year in review for the animal shelter and, humane officer activities. I want,
They have any action on it?
I don't think so. I'd just like to say, very well done, and this is very helpful in
Yeah, these are
summarizing
awesome.
this and everything. This is,
Takes a lot of
something
time to do that.
we've never had this before that I know of.
No, I've never seen
I wanna
it.
say yours.
Well, and I
Kind of a
can't-
summary.
Well, yeah, and the humane officer stuff, most of that, I don't say, I'm trying to get it to where it's in the computer, because there's not really, all the forms I have to make them. Any warning letters, those are all templates I had to make, and that's in the, none of that, I can't just push buttons in the computer and,
Print
wish
out the
out
report.
a citation or something like that, I have,
Good.
so it takes me a minute to get all that together, but everything is kept, everything is logged, I kinda know what's going on, and I was gonna add, so far this year, I've had 2 complaints, 2 animal complaints, one of those animals has been brought to the shelter. I've written 3 warning letters already, 3 citations, and I've had 1 order of quarantine this year already, and I've had 1 bite, animal was not located. So, already, and that was not even January 7th. That all happened
All of
January
that
3rd,
you
and
said?
all of that happened on January 3rd when I got back, and I'm still dealing with the one I was texting this morning, that's another complaint that I'm still dealing with. That's where we're headed.
Well, thank you very much for that. Any further?
May I ask a question?
Sure.
In regards to the vouchers, and there's already quite a few for this
Yep.
year and some haven't been used. Would it be possible, see, we don't have Purple Cat Vet coming here, if we could get, money donated even and say, okay, we could take 10 or 15 cats to Purple Cat there that have vouchers, whether, you
I
have.
tried doing the vouchers with Purple Cat, I have,
No, they don't do them.
she will take, we can do it, but all of her appointments are online and they all have to be paid online.
Okay, so if you could get someone to pay for those online,
Yep.
or like a donation even, say.
Somehow, you would have to figure out how to work it out with Purple Cat,
Mhm,
cause it can be done, it's just gonna take, cause I can't pay for them and
right,
you can only use credit card only. I'm sure she's more than willing to do a Russ County Day
mhm.
for Russ County residents if someone donates that, I don't know exactly how.
Or donated gas money, or for the time for the person to take them, or whatever,
Yeah.
it could be done if
Something
we
like that.
figured it out.
Yeah, we
Because
just have to figure it out.
if it's really that far behind, it'd be pretty helpful to get a larger number of those people that
Yep.
need it.
And she
taken
doesn't do
care of.
dogs, so cats only,
Right.
but there is a way to do it, it's just gonna take some finesse and someone's gonna have to pay for it other than, cause the
Okay,
problem is if I go on there and I make all these appointments for these people and the shelter pays for this with a credit card and for some reason either these people don't show up or all of a sudden they don't have the money, then now I have to explain why I have a $2,000 bill and only say 1,500 of it has been, you know what I mean? So I don't
Yes.
wanna get into that problem. I don't have to explain that problem, but there is a way to do it,
okay,
we just gotta figure it out.
thank you.
Okay, anything else? Okay, the next item on here is to discuss future of on-call, and they just shortened it up to active activities.
So I just made this, cause this kinda we talked about it, but we never really went anywhere, and I'm just bringing it up, cause we just need it. I know that we don't have on-call right now, but eventually we're gonna have to come up with something pertaining to on-call. We just don't have, and I think part of the, nobody wants to work for 24 hours and then either not get paid or only get paid whatever, $10 or something. Or whatever it is.
10 and 15.
Yeah. Using ink.
Gotta make it pretty.
How many, just out of curiosity, how many people do we have right now that can do it? Stephanie, when her foot gets better? Is there someone else still that's
Carrie,
Carrie? Okay.
she only does 1 weekend a month though.
One weekend?
So that's not enough. And I've already burnt Nicole out enough. And I can't be burning her out more. And it's a lot of,
so basically, I'll start with this and then Ron can fill in. Right now, we do not have the on-call, service like we had. It's mainly up to the, well, except during the day, but during, the sheriff's department and the city police are basically doing it and responding to it. And way down the road, there may be some changes made, but we're talking months and months, or maybe even a year or more down the road. So just looking at what we currently have, nothing's gonna change now for the foreseeable future.
And we have interviewed several people and they just don't, some of them are just not on-call material. And not to be offensive to anybody, but you know, you gotta know what you're doing, otherwise, you know, sometimes Nicole's had to go out and pick up 5 dogs at once, cause someone got arrested. Aggressive dogs, aggressive cats, you know, dealing with people that are yelling at you, so you can't just, you know, you have to kinda, middle of the night sometimes, you know, it's cold, it's raining, you gotta know how to use the equipment, so I can't just have anybody just, you know, show up out there and
They gotta know what they're doing.
you have to kinda know what they're doing, a little bit. But, so currently it's if someone's on call, they're on call all day, all night, or whatever it is, for no pay unless they go get something. And then that pay is $15 for county, $10 for city. But, and that's it. So,
So you're proposing?
I have a couple, I just have I guess I don't know if I'm proposing it, it's just an idea of what we could do, cause I know that that's more money. So, you could have a flat fee if someone's on call, say Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or whatever, they get paid $20 or $25 for being on call. But they also get the fee if they're, yes, which those should be increased as well, but you're talking you're talking more money, so.
But if they're on call, they kinda gotta limit what they can be doing.
Right, if they're getting a flat fee, yeah, but right now you have someone on call all day Saturday, well, not right now, but
Oh,
before,
yeah.
all day Saturday, and they really can't do anything or go anywhere,
They gotta stick in the area.
but they're not getting paid for that.
So the number one, that's current, correct?
No,
No, that's
that's
just
a
it's just
proposed.
idea suggestion that
Okay.
we do not, there is no flat fee, there is no
Oh,
pay,
okay,
except if they go pick up,
Gotcha.
The county has an on-call policy.
it doesn't, apply to us apparently.
Cause
As
anything
far as
else.
I understand, it does not apply to the shelter.
What is that policy? I mean,
They get paid, I don't know, we talked about it at one meeting.
Cause I was a social worker, we had an on-call policy.
Yes,
right,
Maintenance people have.
yep.
Right.
So does highway department.
Right. but they're entirely separate.
Yeah,
and
it doesn't apply to
It
us.
doesn't.
it just doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
It's
When I
like
knew about it. Yeah, it
They
doesn't,
all write their own
they don't get
based on
paid
how it suits.
an hourly rate for being on call, so I don't know.
But I mean, it'd be something to look into.
Right, and
If we-
those are the
If
options.
we have a policy, maybe we could formulate it like kind of consistent with what your policy is.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But each one of those on-call policies are different.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we could have our own kind of
Right.
formulated like that.
So this just comes out of our budget then?
Mhm. So that's why it's an issue. Money.
So, as of now, the sheriff's department, police department are helping us do that. I still get calls, I got calls all weekend, I got calls during the holidays of other complaints and stuff like that, which is fine. But what they're doing, I don't think they're picking anything up unless, we haven't had any like emergencies or anything like that, but I think they're meeting people at the shelter and then letting them in and they're putting the animals in there.
You know, Dawn, one thing about what you brought up about that professional part of it, you know, even if you're on call, you know, if an animal wasn't aggressive, you could make it aggressive, just by the way you approach
Right, by the way
it.
you're acting, if you're
Right,
afraid,
or-
going on its
or-
property.
Or if the people weren't, you know, first they were cooperative, if I barge into their home to get their animal, I
Which
might make them
They can't do that,
uncooperative.
I can't even do that.
Well, no, but I, you know, in their yard or
Right.
whatever.
Yep.
But the big thing is, there is some training involved.
they don't get,
Yeah,
cause
yeah,
that's also money,
so, oh, no,
and
but I mean,
I'm only one person.
you know, eventually, you know, if it was
Eventually it
done-
would be nice,
if
yes.
it was done right, you
Yeah.
could save money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because a lot of people, are there still a lot of people that are reporting the animals, but they aren't willing to bring them in?
I haven't come into that,
Okay.
most people are willing to bring them in, we picked up a couple, during the day.
But there's still a few though that like, they ran through the yard and.
Yeah, if they ran through the yard and they're gone, they're not gonna, the police do not have time to deal with that. I do tell them to send me a report though, if there was an animal at large running somewhere. If we're at this shelter and we get a call like that, and we're not in the middle of a bunch of things, we'll just, if it's not too far away, we'll go look for them. But I do get reports of those, so if they're sighted again, at least I'll know if it's constant occurrence, or maybe that pet is lost or something like that, so.
Yeah, we don't have to take any action on this today, this
No.
is just kind of a keep in the back of your mind thing, but I don't foresee anything changing for quite some time, at this point in time. This is just to give you something to think about, but this isn't gonna change, and like I say, there's some other plans in the works that could be a year from now and everything. Right now, it's gonna stay with the sheriff and, city police for the foreseeable future.
But, I mean, we can decide on this, as this committee can decide on an increase if we choose, correct?
We would still have to go through fire, so.
Well, for these fees.
Cause
I'm not sure.
these are payroll, I mean, these come out of the
It goes on their
budget.
pay, they get, their checks go through payroll and.
The
like
pickup fees as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's so when you're still wanting the full-time person and then you start adding, I mean, this should have been dealt with years ago, I mean, these are really
Oh,
low,
they've been there since
a
Yeah.
long time. It's just
eighties,
been,
I think, or not eighties, nineties at least.
I think it just got left, but,
So I think we need to pick our priorities, and so I would say this is,
but this is still here, it's not getting, I'm bringing it up because it's not forgotten, it's not getting forgotten, it's just.
right,
I'm not sure what to do with it right now because of the full-time position, you know.
For the full-time position, are you gonna use the same job description?
there is a separate one for that,
Right, but
and that's already been done.
right, but you're gonna take the same one that you're taking the last personnel, okay?
So,
Take those with you when you go and do that. These are excellent to
yes, I'm
show
taking
what
it all.
is being done, what the job
Yeah,
includes.
everything else is, that's, they need to, the board needs to be out there to see how much there is out there, how many animals there are, and it's not just a couple cages here, a couple cages there. They need to sit out there for a day and see how
You
much
need to
time
come in
it
the
takes.
spring and the summer, that's when all the babies are.
Oh,
that's
okay.
when
Well, yeah.
animals are on the prowl.
Right.
In the winter, usually they're not, we got one cat that was, well, two cats that were extremely cold, so far. This year. I can't say anything more than that, cause I don't wanna jinx myself.
Okay,
Glad you did
uh,
bring this up.
again, this is just to be brought up, to make you aware of it, like say, no action is required at this time. We'll move on to the next item, again, to bring up about the update on websites and when things get posted and what can be or cannot be done at the current time.
Okay, I'm just bringing up the websites just because I did update both of them. So.
Why don't you explain the two websites, cause Mike would.
Oh, so the animal shelter has a website. It's Rusk County Animal Shelter.
Right.
It's a separate website. And then the Rusk County, Wisconsin website has a, if you go on service to get animal shelters, I don't know if it's, I guess I would call it a page of a website, is that what it's called? So we have that one as
Has
well.
the members listed before and stuff.
Yes, yep. So I updated both of those last week or the week before. They both have, surrender fees on them, they both have the new adoption fees on them, all the hours and everything has all been updated and corrected. So they're all up to date. And I'm the only one that updates those, so
there's a council representative, yeah.
Yes, yeah. That worked out good, and they put my name in there.
Oh, yep, good.
Yeah,
Good deal.
cause it said vacant.
Yeah.
And there was.
For a long, long time, actually.
Okay, anything else on that, Dawn?
Nope.
Yep. Okay, let's move on then to your shelter operations report.
Alright. Alright. This is shelter inventory as of this morning. There's 41 total animals at the animal shelter right now,
Cats and dogs.
cats and dogs total.
That's
So-
down.
And also, it's
We
on
just,
for-
5 left yesterday, I sent 3 cats to, a cat rescue, and then 2 little kittens got adopted. And we only got 1 in. Usually
Other way
it's
around.
3 out, 7 in. So these are all the animals that we have listed, so we have 5 dogs at the shelter. Only one of them is available for adoption, because he's the only one fixed. The 2 other ones are getting fixed on Monday, and they are both getting adopted on Tuesday.
Oh,
Yes, cause I already have people for them, they're just
Oh.
not fixed. Like I said, everybody's
Oh.
backed up. And the vet that was gonna fix them on January 5th or whatever it was, got COVID and ended up in the hospital. So that had been pushed down 3 weeks out, it was canceled 3 times, so we're keeping our fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So that means then we'll have 3 dogs left, only one of them, the one that's spayed, is still there. And the other 2 dogs we have back there all came in this year. Those 2. So one of them was injured, and they got her to me too late, they couldn't pay the vet fees, by the time I got her, the vet couldn't fix her laceration, so it's just, she's on antibiotics, it's healing, and they remove the lump of dead skin when they spay her. The other dog was basically removed, by force of surrender. Highly recommended surrender. So that dog is.
The one that was injured, was it, hit by a car or? Figured out. Oh,
But I'm not.
that's where the location is in the paper.
It's a tear. I mean, it could have been an injury from a dog fight, not from the fight, but from getting hooked on something, I don't know. It's a tear. She's fine. She's a little bit of an emotional wreck, but she'll be alright. And then we have 3 fosters. Buddy should be getting adopted this week. And then Lily, we're just waiting for her spay. And Kitty Cat's the blind one. And then we have a bunch of cats, and there's a bunch of cats going on Monday too, with the 2 dogs.
Where's that gonna be done at?
That's Clark County. Clark
Clark
County's the
County.
only one that does dogs.
John Cougar Melon Cat?
We call him, JC.
That is cute.
Lady Smith is really backed up, I've had a hard time getting in there, they fit me in when somebody cancels, but the Purple Pack does not do dogs. So, Clark County is the closest, that's an hour and 45 minutes. Wow. And I'm not adopting intact female dogs.
Well, understandable.
Not gonna happen. Never know what's brewing in there.
How's that cat that was picked up on Old by Christie Mountain?
He seems fine, I think his paws are probably a little frostbit, he's a little cold, but he seems okay, where he's on frostbite watch, just because he's his tail in his ears.
Oh.
Yeah, we have a cat one of the cats I sent to the rescue, has a tail that needs to be amputated, so.
The whole thing?
And it wasn't even that cold out, that one was picked up, I think I picked him up too, but it was cold out, but,
Oh, like the whole tail or just the tip or?
he'll probably have that much tail left. He's
Oh,
just a little
so-
kid, he's
oh,
like
okay.
16 weeks old. He's gotta get neutered yet, and they're gonna amputate his tail.
The black and white one?
That little,
He loses his tail too, or?
the one that just came in yesterday?
Yeah.
I don't know yet, it takes a while for frostbite, so you just have to keep watching him. The other cat we got in, actually, I thought his ears were gonna fall off and they didn't, so so he's okay, so this little kid might be okay, but the lady that found him thought he was dead. And she
The
drove,
black and white one?
yeah, she drove, cause he was laying in the middle of the road.
Oh, like, yeah, but I saw, there was one of you said they were laying in the road.
Yeah, and she drove by him, she thought he was dead, and then she's like, you know what, I gotta see if this
Gotcha.
cat's alive. And she turned around, he moved a little bit, but his tail was frozen to the, yeah, his hair and stuff, but he seems okay. He's very happy to not be out in the cold, but he's got frostbite little blisters on his feet, so.
So we had the one hanging around by her cabin, I put fence in there before, but I wonder if that might have been him. Not too far from-
Did that one dog that you had, did that get adopted?
Which one?
Well, it was kind of like a healer or Australian cattle dog.
I got 2 of those and I had 1 of those before, so was it the little female? Black and white?
She was really shy.
Yeah, she got adopted.
She did.
Yeah.
So this new one,
I have a red healer.
he's red?
Yep, he's red. He is emotionally drained.
Oh,
He did not come from a good place.
oh no.
This is. So I walk over there, I'm gonna get these two. So these are what was put on Facebook. It's posted at the shelter. And I'll explain the reason for these little things.
Oh, interesting.
You got it, and I gave you guys yours. Okay,
That is cute.
so that is what has been posted on our Facebook page. I might be able to put it on our website, I'm not, we'll have to see, cause you have to take screenshots of these and then post them somehow, but anyways. So, dog licenses are posted, everybody knows we sell them at the shelter and the township sells till the 31st. And, so that went up on the Facebook page. Cat licenses. I do not do, never done, shelter's never done them. The city hall does them, they're under a completely different computer program that I do not have, they do not have mine, I do not have theirs. Now, I can get a list at the end of the year. But they sell them all year long, they do not charge late fees. And so this is posted, so what I'm gonna do is anyone that adopts a cat that lives in Ladysmith, they're gonna get that little square thing stapled to their adoption, so that they know where to get them from.
That you don't want to do cat licenses.
I would have to give the city hall access to our shelter medicine, otherwise our program.
Yeah. You don't
So
wanna do
it's
that.
gonna create a lot more, not that I don't want more
Not
work,
more.
but maybe in the
confusion.
future, if it's gonna be an easier, something, but for right now, I'm just gonna give
Leave
people,
it at the city,
yeah, leave it at that and have
because
people,
the county doesn't require it.
the county doesn't require it. And, if they adopt from Ladysmith, they'll get that little card, and then I can always check, so what I'll probably do is if someone adopts from the city of Ladysmith and I give them that card, I will check with the city hall later, like I'll have like a little list of those people, and I can always check periodically throughout the year. And if they didn't do it, I can send them a little reminder, a little warning letter, hey, you know your cat needs to be licensed. So that's about all I can really do. I'm not gonna go door to door, but I can send them a letter. That's what I do, with the dog licenses, if their dog's on rabies quarantine, or if I get a complaint or anything I do, if the animal hasn't come to the shelter, I check rabies, well, obviously if they bite someone, they have to have rabies, but I check licensing. So if they are quarantined or have an order of quarantine or any kind of complaint that they have not come into the shelter, I check the system. If they're not in there for licensing, they get a warning letter automatically, and I give them, depending on what time of year it is, I'll give them 30 days or whatever to get it fixed. If they do not have it, they'll get a citation. If they don't, some people will call me and be like, oh, hey, if they call call me and we work it out, it's fine, if they just don't do it.
Okay, any questions on this from anybody? Do you have anything else for your animal shelter report?
Let me see, what else? I don't think so, I think that is it.
You know, I like this with the cats on the railings and the little mouse there. One other suggestion though, when you do this, that I've seen, and you probably all seen it too, is the cat's tails are kind of combined, cross over each other.
Nice.
That, you see that on a lot of the stuff, that they're like holding tails, if you will, as opposed to that way. That was good. This is good. Okay.
Oh, I was gonna mention really quick. So I did look up the 2022, stats. So there was only 291 intakes.
And this year, last year, 408.
Yes. Just FYI. Now, these are from the computer, I don't,
Oh,
the numbers
right,
should, they should be correct if they were put in there correct. But I didn't do, I came in October 2022, so anything before that,
What was the number again for?
we had 291 intakes in 2022, and 124 of those are cats, 162 were dogs, and it looks like there was 5 birds. There was probably in the computer. Well, one bird was reclaimed actually, but, so, so there was a huge increase.
They donated cat food.
Hmm? A
I
cat
believe I
bird?
said that.
Okay, anything else?
Oh my God.
Okay.
Sure, come on,
But thank you for all of this, so there's a lot of work that goes into this, and I think that indicates to people that, I mean, there is a need, and a lot of work goes into this to, well, just to keep the statistics, plus to handle all this, there's a lot of paperwork,
Yeah.
A lot of
unfortunately,
paperwork, a lot
but,
of phone calls, a lot of people I gotta talk to, it's not just one animal complaint, one animal complaint could last several weeks to months.
And you just don't walk in there and feed the animals and that's it, you've got,
It's tough to do.
is there, it's gonna sound kind of strange, but is there any way for when you go to the personnel committee again to have like a little video or something like that of what you actually do, I mean, and so they've got actual visual
I
to see.
mean, cleaning them and feeding them and depending, obviously it's easier when there's less of them.
Right.
It's harder when there's more. The problem comes into play is when you're cleaning and feeding and then all of a sudden you have to go pick up an animal, or now all of a sudden the phone doesn't stop ringing, or I've got complaints, I gotta go and check this out, or they need medication. Now, if you got 408 animals come in and there was 453 outcomes, the reclaims are fairly easy. But the animals that stay there and get adopted, you're talking each animal is getting at the least 2 distemper vaccinations. They're getting rabies, and I don't do the rabies, sometimes I do if I get the vet to come there, if I have animals that are already fixed, which is very rare. And you're talking deworming, you're talking flea and tick. They need exams, I have to make sure I'm not sending any animals out that have lice, or mange, or ear mites, or injuries, or, frozen tails. You have to make, or rotten, if they have a bad tooth, that is the reason why they're not feeling well, I mean, that has to be taken care of. You cannot adopt somebody, an animal, that is, something could be fixed, like when it gets spayed or neutered, or, easily taken care of. So it's not like you throw them in there and then you're just gonna send them out.
It's, I mean, a lot of people think that's what the case is.
If you don't treat fleas, everybody gets fleas.
Oh, yeah.
And if everybody gets fleas, everybody gets tapeworms.
Ooh, it makes me.
Tapeworms are zoonotic, I don't want tapeworms.
Well, no.
So you have to treat, if you don't treat the mange, if it's sarcoptic, you will get sarcoptic mange. So those things all, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
They
people
all that stuff
realize.
has to be treated. You can't just, and there is a standard, and my standard is everybody gets vaccinated, everybody gets tapeworm, everybody gets flea and tick. If they have tapeworms, they get treated for tapeworms. You know what I mean? If they have roundworms, and everybody gets pyrantel anyway, so that kills most things, it doesn't kill tapes, it doesn't kill coccidia, it doesn't kill giardia. So those are the kind of things that you have to make sure that are treated
Individual.
before they go out, because some of those things are zoonotic. And the last thing you want is, all it takes is one person to get a sick animal or a pregnant animal or something all over Facebook.
Living from the shelter, yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
So you have to be, they have to be healthy and they have to be happy. Cause then more people come back and get them.
Okay, any other questions for Dawn or anything? Okay, let's move on. Budget review. This is for the full year now. We're only showing the 3 columns, the budget, the year to date, and whether it's over, under. When you look at some of these, now not everything is on here because the county makes some year-end adjustments and they're not on here yet. For example, if you look at, well, I'll just do the last 3 digits, 156. The workers' comp isn't in there yet. So it shows year-to-date 0. I mean, that will be coming, I don't know how much it is or anything like that. But if we just kind of start going down here, you can see for the wages and everything, we were slightly under, which is good. Social Security retirement, and I'm assuming everything's been supposed to, workers' comp hasn't been done. Contracted services, I think a lot of that was the snow plowing last year. I think that's where you put that under.
Snow plowing
And fixing some of
the air conditioner.
well, the air conditioner isn't in there, but, you had other repairs. If you look at telephone and internet, we're over on both. Utilities slightly under. Are you basically current getting all your bills in?
Yes.
I mean, and everything,
I know they're
okay, cause some of them are, some other departments are way behind, so, okay.
No, I'm
So
way.
again, this is,
I do that real quick, 'cause when it gets behind, it gets behind.
yep. Okay, just going down here again, taking, radio ads, well, the reason that's over is because it wasn't budgeted for. And then we get office supplies, well, that's slightly over, training, it's over, 340, equipment, that's where the air conditioner
Oh,
is, the
yeah.
Oh.
55,600 that we approved when it got hit by lightning or collapsed or whatever, and we had to pay for that out of ours. Then the 4 big ones here, animal food, we're over by about $700. Animal shelter supplies, we're over $2,000, and about $6,000 over on animal supplies. And we've increased that in the New Year's budget and everything, just keep that in mind, going down there, and then, 356, auto, again, why that's so far over, because running back and forth to Clark County to take care of all these animals. And remember, at the beginning of the year, you were doing, weren't you still doing auto dogs?
Yeah.
And all that, so that's why.
We'll be doing that this year, we'll have no more puppies.
Yep, so hopefully that'll be good. The spay neuter, that has this down to Dawn. It should be only be 25, I circled the one, I think that just got entered wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
Because the other ones were up there, so we should probably get that, changed, or maybe it'll end up staying there. Going down self-insurance, the insurance, 512, that's done. I don't think any more. Maintenance transfer, I don't know if they're going to put more into that line 930 or not, but over, again, we don't exactly know what that is, but that's probably from that. You turn to the next page, or on the back. So when you look at this, total expenditures, we budgeted 151, year to date is 159, and remember, we still have some more to come in there that haven't been hit yet with insurance, so we're about $8,000 over. But let's look at, revenue now. Okay, we didn't have any kennel permits, and-
We should have kennel permits, maybe they're not in there yet.
okay,
I did a kennel permit for 2022 and 2023, which is $200.
okay, I wonder where they went, maybe they went into,
It shouldn't, I put it,
I mean, you know there's this line, yeah, for revenue. Okay, animal shelter receipts, so we're over that, negative almost 4,000. That means we got more in than what we budgeted for, so that's good because this is revenue. Again, the city share is not in there yet for revenue, which we'll get to. Shelter donations, well, okay, if you go over 48,500, since they're all practically zeros, 48,500 animal shelter donations. That was something that you said people are asking, can we donate for food or, you know?
Just, that's the general fund, which was zero.
Right,
before.
and so they got in 7,000, so again, that shows that it's over, but that's good because the revenue, cause the budget was zero and we got 7,400 in. If you drop down, okay, 49,200 animal shelter transfer gift fund, the budget was 5,000. That 3,167.52, remember we approved that was for
Cages
those animal stuff.
Live traps or?
Yeah.
There is
Carry-
other stuff
carry
in
cages
there.
too.
Yeah, that had been approved, and again, that,
Some vet appointments.
that was, again, we approved all of those, but we're still under budget there. And then the next big one here is shelter dog taxes, that's dog licenses. You can see zero. We don't get that transferred until probably February or sometime in there. And that probably will be more than that. So when you come down, jump to the bottom, total revenues, they budgeted 95, we've only got 24 in, so we're 70,000 short. So when you look at this, we're 78,000 way over. But you've gotta look at, the city roughly is going to owe us 58,000
When do they pay that?
when they get billed.
Oh, they haven't billed it.
No, because they
Okay.
gotta figure out what the total expenses are, you know, they gotta get together year-end stuff
So the
in.
year-end stuff
Right,
is not
so,
billed.
so they will pay that, and that's an approximation, plus, we've got dog licenses, again, I'm just hitting the main ones. So, we're 78,000 in the hole, take away 58,000 from that, so that leaves 28,000, I'm sorry, 20,000 in the hole, but we got dog license, it's gonna be more than 23,000. So we're going to be coming out okay. It's the individual line items that are, you know, over, under. But again, looking at it overall, we should be okay.
So when that percent of budget left year to date,
That doesn't-
negative 140%, that
that's-
reflects the way it is now.
Right, and that's just a meaningless thing right now, Deb. So we will be getting in, say, assuming 58 from the city and at least 20, well, it'll be more than 23 for the dog licenses because they collected more and we raised the fees, a year ago, or 2 years ago, I guess, and so that's something that, you know, they're always talking about, well, raise that, well, we raised the adoption fees, so it'll take effect this year, and I think come this fall, well, for whoever's on here, they should raise the dog taxes again, but I think it's like $13.50 and
We're pretty cheap compared to other places.
and get rid of the 50-cent stuff and make it $15 and $10 or whatever, you know, whatever it is, get rid of that little, but it should go up again because, they all say, well, how are you gonna afford this or that? Well, the only way we have for revenue is the adoption fees, which we raise, so that should help this year, and the dog taxes, and so they hadn't been raised for a while either.
We are selling the dog licenses at the shelter. They were not, when I got there, they were not selling at the shelter.
So, looking at the budget, I think we're going to come out okay. Again, we don't know how much some of these transfers in will be, but we should be close. So well, then let's go on to the next, one, the building fund. We got in $12,000 for the building fund. So we had 3,800 to begin with at the end of last year, meaning 2022. So we've got 15, almost 16,000 in the building fund, so that should take care of what we need to pay the architects, to begin with. And that can come out of here before any other So turning the page. Now the next one is, remember Heather expense, this is spay neuter. We have a lot, and I mean, we're $14,500 over budget because there are a lot of spay neuter expenses done in there. But we got in spay neuter donations of 14,000. We got the aluminum cans, and in the spay neuter donations in there, that also includes your Light Foundation, or, you know, the
That's in
grant
the- yeah.
that you grant to. So when you look at the thing overall, basically, we spent $2,000 more than we brought in. But if you look at the beginning balance from 12/31/2022, we got 36,000 to carry forward. So let's just say right now, approximately, we have 34,000 left in there. So we're sitting good in that, so stay neuter. And then the last one is the gift fund. Again here, if you look at the second line from the top, ends in 700, that 119555, remember, that's what we authorized also to pay. And since we authorized it before Dawn had paid it, she could charge it directly to the gift fund rather than transfer. So the two things that we approved today for the beds and for Sybil, she can charge that directly to this account, directly to the gift fund. So we don't have to charge it to the regular fund and then transfer money into the regular fund. As long as we approve it first, and she hasn't paid the bill yet, we can charge. So that was that. If you go down to the 990, it says transfer to animal shelter. That's the amount that you saw on the other one. This was the other one that we had approved, but that one had already been paid in the regular account. And so we had to move money from basically here to there. So right now, again, like I said, the one ending in 700 there, the two expenses that we approved today, since she hasn't paid them yet, and again, she can't pay anything out of the gift fund until we approve it, she'll be able to charge it directly here. So again, looking at this coming down, we got about $8,700 in funds. So just looking at this, we got about $4,000 more in donations in the gift fund than what we spent. And we started out the year with 78,000. So we have roughly, again, just rough numbers, 82,000 left in the gift fund.
Where is that sitting as far as, are we getting the outcome on the interest that we possibly can?
This is through the county, this is the county fund.
Oh.
We don't,
So we don't,
can't control it. It just, it's in there, it's with their stuff. We don't get interest on this. That, the bank fees up there, the top expense, I believe that is what PayPal charges. Those are the fees for people that donate through PayPal. And that's the 102.91. That is PayPal expenses. And so, again, just looking at this roughly, we spent about 4,000, we got in 8,000, so roughly 4,000 to the good. Add that to 78, so we got 82,000 at year end. Again, roughly, unless there's some other stuff that comes through. Are there any questions about that? Just one thing that we had talked about earlier. Well, again, we're waiting for the Zoom meeting, find out, and so moving forward with the pardon? No. But we had talked about this, we haven't made any definite thing, but in the budget for next year, in the gift fund, tentatively, we have budgeted a $50,000 transfer for the cat room addition to take out of the gift fund. So if we say we got 82 now minus 50, and again, we haven't agreed on that amount, that was just something that had to be put in for budget purposes. That would leave, what, 34,000 left in the gift fund. That's something we'll have to discuss once we find out how much it's gonna cost and what our sources of funds are here. But per the budget, again, remember it's a budget, in the building fund, I'm sorry, in the gift fund, we show a transfer out of 50,000 for next year. Cause you remember, we've talked about that, we never decided on an actual amount, it was just, so just to keep that.
What was the transfer out for?
Well, we haven't transferred it, it's to take money out of the gift fund to help pay for the cat room addition. Because that's a special project or need, and that's what the gift fund can be used for. And it was kind of a consensus that we would spend some of that money to it, but how much is left to be decided. So just bring that up. Okay, if there aren't any questions on the budget, review the bills. I'll entertain a motion to, I think you've seen it there compared to last month, to approve the bills. There are, the total this month, last month, if you remember, there was quite a bit. This month there's only 4,200, the biggest one is Laceland Veterinary Clinic again for vouchers that you paid out. Again, the vouchers don't get recorded, well, she keeps it on a spreadsheet or separate, but it doesn't hit expense until they actually pay the vet back for that. So there's nothing, rabies, vet, and then some, Purple Cat and XL Energy bills, so that's all that. How come there's no phone bill on here this month? Just didn't,
I don't think the phone bill, my phone bill or
yeah.
the phone, depending on what phone you're talking about, shelter phone?
Yeah, the shelter phone too, or both.
Cause those bills go through IT as far as I know, all Verizon, I don't get those bills.
But they charge it to you.
They do, but they're the ones that they have everybody's accounts
Okay.
as far as I know. Cause I think it used to come, cause when I first started
Yeah.
working, I think I was getting Verizon and putting them through, but there must have been an issue with
All different.
too many, so all I know is IT must run all that through and put that in the appropriate accounts, as far as I know.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded to approve the bills. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried.
Sure.
Okay, the next item, practice.
Okay,
Do you
well.
have, anything, any words of wisdom for us?
No, sometimes yeah. But I will say that I usually chew on you guys, and so today I'm gonna compliment you because I think in December you heard a little bit of my history of 45 years with the animal shelter and coming to hundreds of meetings. And this department has evolved so much, especially in the last couple of years, but the committee that you guys have going right now is by far the best, the staff you have is the best. And so I, compliment you on that because it's a constant effort to bring this department up to the same status as the other county departments and the city departments. It's always like a second-class department. And I know that you're going to attempt to do that with your on-call policies and your phone use policies. And so to me, that is really encouraging, and it makes a person want to do good things for you guys when you guys are doing good things. Okay, so now I can chew on you.
Butter us up.
Yeah, buddy up first, okay. One of the first things is, we, had a fundraiser at the Winter Magic, and we made about $400. Our treasurer, I haven't talked to her to find out exactly how much, and I obviously, it will take a lot of $400 events to pay for a building. But, I do think that the only reason that we made that was because we had a couple people that donated some really nice items for us to sell. Joanne was one of them, and another gal who made us some Christmas placemats and things like that. And so, it's crazy, we count on donations to then make donations to you, it's kind of the circle of life in the donation world. Okay, the other thing is that I have questions, like if I have a question about something during the meeting, can I just like raise my hand and ask you, or do you want me to ask it now? And think about that, because I do have a question about what's the difference between, what's an abatement policy and order, and then also about, you have owners that request euthanasias. Does that mean that I could bring my dog in and you'd euthanize it for a fee, or what do those two things mean?
So, an abatement order
Yeah,
is something that the humane officer serves if there needs to be a correction. With, it could be the animal's housing, it could be the number of animals, it could be taking an animal to the vet, it could be a number of things. So, an abatement order is good, served by me is good for 3 years, so I have to basically take care of that situation for the next 3 years and make sure they're following all the guidelines.
so you could give them that when somebody complains about an animal, you could give them an abatement order rather than
Taking
a
their animals.
citation.
Nope, so, so if I'm giving a citation, it's either because an animal's at large, I'm not gonna serve an abatement order for an animal at large. I'm not gonna serve an abatement order if someone doesn't have their animals rabies vaccinated and licensed. I'm gonna serve an abatement order to correct a situation that could go very wrong and give the owners a chance to correct it instead of me seizing their animals.
Okay, well,
Because it's kind of like,
a warning letter.
that's more than that, they can get in a lot of trouble if they
Oh,
don't
okay.
comply with the abatement order.
Okay,
But if, say you have, it's kind of the gray area, so say you have a situation where it's like, if this isn't corrected, this is gonna go bad. But it's not to the point where it's not correctable. Do you know what I mean?
okay,
So instead of me going in and taking somebody's, I don't know, 15, 20 cats or something like that, maybe all they need to do is something that's against the law, like, I don't know, treat them, maybe they're sick and they need to take them to the vet or something like that. So instead of me, I don't really need to seize them if they're gonna take them to the vet and comply with that abatement order. If they do that and get them to the vet and treat whatever needs to be treated, they're good. But then I just have to make sure that whatever I have listed on that abatement order, cause I could have several things listed, that they're complying with all of those. If they don't comply with those, they now have not, complied with their abatement order, and I can seize their animals and I can take them to court.
okay, so, yeah,
Or I
you
can
think I
write
would know
citations
that by
or
now, but I
whatever.
don't,
Does
because
that make sense?
kind of sort, it's gonna have to sink in with me for a
Yeah.
while, all those little differences.
Because you don't always have to go in and take everybody's animals. A lot of
Right,
times, if people are educated or helped in the correct manner, some of these things are not on purpose. Some of them are just, they're not educated, or they made a bad decision, and you kinda have to think, okay, if I serve this abatement order, this is gonna help these people and help these animals.
Okay, so then, okay, now I'm gonna, ask a question about, I don't understand that when lightning hit the shelter, that you had to, the cost for air conditioning came out of the shelter budget? Because okay, in my little brain, I'm going, well, if lightning hit the courthouse and knocked out the air conditioning, they wouldn't be charging all the departments to pay for the air conditioning, so what's up with that? Why didn't
I don't
insurance
think,
take
it
care of
didn't
that?
come out of, that did not come out of the, that I don't know about insurance. But it didn't come out of the gift fund, and it didn't come out of, it just, where did I put it up?
I don't understand why you have to pay for that,
Or that's it.
you know, because when I was here, if something happened to my department, they wouldn't make me pay it, it would just all come out of the property. Why is that coming out of the animal shelter budget?
Because it was their, air conditioner, and it's not, and there's no insurance filed on it because it's more than just barely over the deductible. I think, what's the deductible? 5,000 or 10,000, 5,000.
Yeah.
And this was like 56, and this was an emergency thing and everything. And they just said it's your thing. If something happened here, in effect, it would get charged to all the departments out of the maintenance budget.
Evenly, it wouldn't be
Right,
So-
but that's.
So if a lightning bolt came and struck social services and only broke those windows or whatever, they wouldn't charge social services, the whole,
Courthouse.
so the whole courthouse would pay that. So I don't understand why this isn't under the whole courthouse insurance, number one, and why it comes out of the animal shelter budget. That's an upgrade that you guys could make to keep it from being that second-class department. I mean, it's a department of the county and should be all included.
I believe we argued that.
Yeah, does the highway building have their own insurance and account?
But,
No,
well,
there's one thing, but like I say, there was no insurance claim filed on it because it just was barely over the deductible.
Which I understand that, but
And so-
is the insurance the same, is it under the umbrella insurance of the whole county, or is it a separate policy for the shelter? I guess that's,
No.
that's something you have to,
That's a good question.
you have to look at that, because that's another thing that says, oh, you guys are your own self, you aren't as good as the other departments, you have to pay for everything yourself. So that's just kind of one thing that I noticed that needs to be looked at. And then, I argued this for years, that any interest that the county made on land conservation money should come back to the land conservation department, and that, of course, got nowhere. But it is a question when you talk about donations, if there's any money, interest made on donations, that money should not go into the general fund to work on taxpayer dollars, cause that's donated money that the shelter should be getting the interest on. So, and you have two of them, the gift fund and the building fund, and I don't know, interest maybe make $10, I don't know, but it's the point of it that, that you should think about. And then one last thing is, several years ago, I found a stray cat that was blind, and I kept him for a while, but our cats beat up on him terribly. So I brought him to the shelter, and Dick knew of someone who took in handicapped cats, and that person took my blind cat. And so I was just wondering if Dick said anything about that person or not, or maybe that person, you know, is not a possibility anymore, but this woman cared just for handicapped cats. So anyway, that's all I have, except I will end with, you guys are doing a really good job, and I thank you very much for that.
Yes, and Dawn did an excellent job preparing all this information, so take it to the personnel
Yeah.
committee.
All that
Show them
will
what's
help
going on.
elevate the shelter as a real legitimate department.
Well, just,
And try to stay on the county committee, please, if you can.
well, like you say, as you all know, there's county elections for the supervisors on April 2nd.
Right.
We're all up for election, well, except these two, cause they're city appointed, on the committee. There will be at least, the county board will change quite a bit, cause there's at least 8 new people coming on. At least, the minimum, 8 new people, commissioners, or supervisors, I should say. And like we mentioned before, in April, after the election, when we have our first county board organizational meeting, then they will elect a chairman and a vice chair, and then they will appoint a committee on committees. And then each person will be given, they can write down what committees they want to be on, but that's all turned into the committee on committees, and the committee on committees appoints people to the committees.
Well, please request that you stay where you are, because you're.
So I was gonna say, we
Yeah.
don't know, you know, and if you could have, like you were saying, every year,
Every year it's been.
or every 2 years.
Yeah, switch people over.
Switch people. So, I mean, we,
Is it, low man and that's one poll for the county board members too, to be on shelter? You know, with the city,
I
they
don't
nobody
think-
wants to be on the shelter board.
I don't think that's it, I do not remember almost 2 years ago, but I even put down what committees I wanted to be on, I probably put down animal control, I don't remember.
I put on that.
Okay, I don't remember, and I think we can put down again and, you know, state that, because, you know, we've got a, like you were saying, we've got a good working group and everything, and if you've gotta start over from scratch, then here we go again.
Right, right.
You know, and especially with, hopefully, we will be constructing a
Right.
cat room addition this year, now we can say this year. Like I say, we haven't heard anything, I think I said this before you guys got here. We haven't heard about the Zoom meeting from the architects, and I think we'll try and schedule it in here, so because they can do the video, you know, the Zoom stuff, so everybody can see it, rather than everybody at their own house and trying to, you know, Zoom that way. Just hold it in here, because that way we can get a better response and everything from everybody. But
Okay,
again, we
and,
haven't heard.
and then I'll just say, Tom Hanson, I think you've been on the committee longest of everybody here, and you've probably seen a huge development as far as this whole thing has gone, so kudos to you guys, keep up the good work.
Now, he'll take a
Kudos.
bow, he'll take a bow.
Yeah. Could you maybe let us know if it is gonna happen soon, because sometimes if I don't think about looking on the website and the special meeting isn't on that,
Oh, you mean for the Zoom?
for the Zoom meeting.
Yeah, well, we can't do anything until
Yeah, I mean, just if you find out.
When
maybe
we
just
get it,
call,
yeah.
Or even know.
Yeah.
or something.
on that, and we just don't, I would think it should be soon, cause they said, I thought the middle of
Yeah,
January or
they-
toward the end.
Right.
So, I would have hoped that we could have had it before our meeting today, but obviously not.
I'll tell you a funny little thing, and then I really will be quiet, is, years ago, if I was in here and it was animal shelter at business at the whole county board, when they brought up the animal shelter, county board members started barking.
Barking?
That's how disrespected
Oh.
the animal shelter department was. And, yeah,
That's
I,
hard.
well, yeah, that'll, okay, now I'll zip it.
How about the idea of contacting major companies or things to get.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that separate.
Okay, anything else from Fracas?
No, that's probably enough.
Okay, yeah, when you ask the question, normally you can only respond during Fracas,
Oh, okay.
or during public comment, like Joanne had one or two.
Or if we raise our hand and we're recognized by
And
somebody, we
recognized,
can't
right.
blurt it out.
Right, but that's, according to Robert's Rules of Orders, that very limited, let's put it that way.
Okay.
So we're doing better. Okay, nothing more from that. Okay, our next meeting date will be February 15th at 8:30. Here in the Government Center in the boardroom. What?
The big kid.
Yeah. So outside of that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
When is that, what's the meeting, the personnel meeting?
I believe the next personnel meeting is like the beginning of February, like February. Oh, I was gonna say one, I don't know,
I have it written down on the 9th.
The ninth would be property.
Huh?
No, the ninth is property.
Yeah, I think it,
I don't know why I put that
Personnel should be February first.
February
What time is that?
first.
February 1st of.
Property is the 9th, yeah,
Jill, what time is that?
Maybe I know property or specific property or personnel.
and ad hoc construction is on the 8th.
That's on the 8th.
Oh, we could add it to that personnel meeting on the first, is that what you're?
Right.
Personnel should be at 3.
3 o'clock?
Would that be on the agenda then, Jim?
Oh,
Jerry will
yes,
request
I
it.
will request that to be on the
Okay.
agenda.
So it is Thursday the 1st then.
Well,
Should be, as long as
yeah, when
follows
they
our
schedule
normal
it.
schedule.
Yeah, and I don't know, again, that's, well, it's getting close, yeah, 2 weeks away, I know they've already had it, so, we'll try and get that on the agenda. And, go again,
Don, has anybody brought you Benson in yet?
Yes.
Okay, I'll entertain
Well, we have some that's getting ground
motion
right
to
now,
adjourn.
and then we have some that's
Yeah,
in the
I
ground.
think anybody-
one of the things, I'll make sure I share some of these reports with the city council folks. So we have my meeting on Monday, so I'll go there Monday during the day and have copies made so I can hand them home, especially your year-end report, you know what I mean? So I'll give them a little update on what's going on
Thank you.
there. Yeah.
Okay,
Did you ask me about, I didn't answer the euthanasia question.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So,
So-
yes, the problem, I'm just gonna answer this really quick.
yeah, go
For
ahead.
some reason, so I never advertise for euthanizing people's pets. I actually don't really like to do it, just because I already, you know what I mean, like, but people were being told that I did it, so a lot of those people, like, just showed up. Cause they had already been to a veterinary clinic or something, they couldn't help them or couldn't get in there, and so they just showed up, and a lot of those animals, the one cat had a broken back, I wanna say, like a handful of those animals were like dying. So I wasn't about to turn them away, I guess. But,
Karen had advertised the euthanasia
she?
pets, yeah.
well, Dick said she never did.
I was on the Facebook site at least.
It's not on there anymore, but if someone walks in and needs me to help them, obviously I'm not gonna, cause that's a really hard thing to do when your animal's dying and you're like, nope, sorry, I can't help you.
Right.
So, but I haven't advertised for it,
Okay.
so, but if someone is definitely in need of help and they can't get into the clinic, I will definitely do it for them.
Okay. Right,
And they do
okay.
get charged for it, yes.
Yeah, but we're-
Do you do the nail clipping and the anal?
I don't do no anal plans. I'm not good at it, I never did. Even when I went to school, I was never, you have to have a really good technique,
Good finger?
and I just don't have time for that. We do the nail trims, yeah, you gotta do that. But a lot of times when people just come in, we don't know how the day's gonna go, and that takes a while, I'm not doing no anal plans.
So that was one of the 3 things that Karen.
Unless it's a shelter animal that
Right.
needs to have his anal glands expressed.
Right.
But that takes a long time and, you know, the nail trims are no big deal, easy, Nicole can do those, I can do those, but anal glands.
Okay,
Not pretty.
okay,
No pedicure.
Unless it's, and if it's an emergency anal gland, they gotta go to the vet. I'm not a vet, so.
Okay.
Sorry.
okay, anything else from anybody? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to adjourn, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. We're adjourned, 10:08.
No, wait.
So do you
Now
want-
I gotta go to Walmart.
Yes, we wanna do one of those things, and